Terence Crawford and Brian McIntyre thinks fans are stupid as they come out and explain why Terence Crawford is going to be too big and strong for Canelo Alvarez in this week's fight coming up. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford's trainer, Bo-Mac or Brian McIntyre, and the upcoming Canelo Alvarez fight that will be taking place in Vegas on September 13th. It is a fight that is, it's a big show. What can I say, man? In a way, though, it is a bit of a gimmick fight because you have a guy at 168 pounds that has been there for a long time fighting a former undisputed champion at 140 and 147 in Terence Crawford, and a 154-pound champion in Terence Crawford. And I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see what happens in this fight. I'm telling you this ahead of time. I'm really pulling for Terence Crawford in this fight. I want to see Terence Crawford end his career on a really, really big note with the win over Canelo Alvarez. I think it would be terrific for American boxing, all of the above. Whether it is going to happen or not, that's something that every day we get closer to the fight, my feelings shift. And this latest thing that Brian McIntyre said, which was a repeat of something that Steve So-Called Nelson had to say, makes me a little bit more reticent to pick Terence Crawford. And the reason that I say that is because they're playing mind games, flat out mind games. Now, you might have seen videos out there, headlines out there about something that Brian McIntyre had said about how Terence Crawford should have been at 168 pounds a long time ago, and how that's the weight class he really belongs in. But that Brian McIntyre had made Terence Crawford stay down at 135, stay down at 140, and stay down at 147. Other than that, this is the strength. This is where he should be. This is a natural thing, right? Okay, let me get this straight. I don't buy that. I don't buy it at all. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of saying that Terence Crawford has ripped off all of these fighters at 135, all these fighters at 140, and all these fighters at 147 by being somebody that did not belong or should not have been competing at those weight classes. I don't buy it. Why would they say that? So that they can make people look at the fight, tune into the fight, and think that this fight is going to be more fair as far as the size between the two fighters. Look, man, I don't buy it. I have listened to Terence Crawford's team too many times, and I know for sure that those guys are excellent at playing mind games. They know what to say. They have a line that they're rehearsing. Steve Cold Nelson was the first one to say it. Bo-Mac was the second one. I did a video on it before. I said when Steve So-Called Nelson said it, it was BS. I'm saying it's BS when Brian McIntyre is saying it, because there's no way that he's stripping down from 181 walking around weight down to 135 pounds at that time. No way. 140 pounds, 147 pounds. Maybe he's a guy that could be fighting really at 154 pounds. But to say that he is somebody that should be fighting at 168 is really, really silly, because most of the guys that belong at 168 pounds are over 6 feet tall, they're typically over 6 feet tall, right? 5'11", 6 feet tall, unless they're really, really packed up and muscled. No, look at Christian and Billy. Christian and Billy, who's the 168-pounder that's going to be on this fight card with Terence Crawford. You can see how that guy is actually built. That is a 168-pounder. Canelo Alvarez himself is really not truly a 168-pounder. This is a fight between a guy that is a blown-up 154-pounder or maybe a blown-up 160-pounder at this page in his career in Canelo Alvarez, and a guy that is going to be pretty much a blown up 147 pounder. So there may be, as far as the natural size in these guys, maybe a weight class, 2 weight class difference because of the, the thickness of Canelo Alvarez, but neither one of these guys really are 168 pounders. So I'm not buying it. There's no amount of money that you're going to pay Terence Crawford to get in there with Christian and with Christian and Billy, let alone somebody like David Benavidez or somebody like that. If you look at the landscape at 168 pounds, it's tough for me to say that I see Terence Crawford beating anybody really in the top 5 of the 168 pounds. Not because he's not a terrific fighter, but just because that's not his weight class. And like I've said, Brian McIntyre and these guys will say things for the media that they just need for the media to hear. Terence Crawford is somebody that would do that. Like, you really can't take what he says straight to the media at face value. He says, oh, I never see the Errol Spence Jr. fight taking place. That's never going to happen. He said that a couple times. The fight winds up taking place, right? So you just hear them trying to throw off the media, having fun and games with the media with the stuff that they're going to say. Now, as far as the fight, again, I really am hoping that Terence Crawford wins the fight. I want to see a good competitive fight between the two of them. Hope, because that will not stain the legacy of Terence Crawford. Even though I have been a critic of Terence Crawford when I thought that there was criticism that was reasonable to be levied, as far as what he can do as a boxer and what he's done in the ring, it's been nothing but spectacular. So to see him go out on a gimmick fight, on a fight that he probably shouldn't be taking, really probably shouldn't be taking, that would be upsetting. That would not be a good thing. It was just kind of like what happened with Jermell Charlo and Canelo Alvarez. It was kind of the same story, the same way they sold it. You saw a lot of people talking about how big Jermell Charlo was. You see Jermell Charlo, flexing his muscles with big chains around him. And Jermell Charlo is a guy that is a significantly bigger guy than Terence Crawford is. But they never sold the idea that Terence Crawford was really 168. That Jermell Charlo was really a 168 pounder. He's a 154 pounder. And I just don't want Terence Crawford to find out the same way that Jermell Charlo found out that, hey, man, yeah, we can put the muscle on, but are we really that big? Now, Terence, though, for his purpose, it's just looking at what he looked like versus what Jermell looked like. It looked like Terence Crawford picked up more weight than Jermell did, or is in order to get to the 168. He looks more heavily muscled, like he really stacked it on. Don't know whether or not that's the best approach either, because he's going to need his quickness and his agility and his anticipation and his timing with Canelo Alvarez. And if his timing is a little bit off with Canelo Alvarez, funny things can happen, and your timing can be off when you put that much muscle and that much weight on. But it is what it is. Look, man, I'm telling you, I'm not buying that he was a weight bully. I believe that he's a legitimate 135-pound champ, 40, 47, because though that's the weight classes and that's the size that he was. They're just trying to sell wolf tickets really on the way into the fight. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.